Good morning, SimWorld. Welcome in. It is Tuesday, April 30th. This is SimWorld today. I am Marsh, joined as I am every Monday and Tuesday by the one, the only B-Ron. B-Ron, good morning. How you feeling?
Hey Marsh, good morning. I am doing all right, man. Feeling all right. Good to be here with you on another episode of SimWorld today, man. Like you said, we got a busy schedule, full show today, full show games today too. So let's hop into the show, yeah.
Well, we had an elimination day of
Yeah.
SWBA where both the Pelicans and the Lakers go home, but that's not where we're going to start. We're going to start where we're on the verge of elimination, where the Miami Heat stumble, trip, fall, face plant again at home, and the Boston Celtics go up 3-1 in a no shocks whatsoever series with the Boston Celtics. The Celtics, B-Ron, they've been the better team. The win in Game 2, a bit of fool's gold with a record-setting number of three-pointers from Miami. This is where we expected this series to be. Whether it was going to be a Game 3 or 4 win by Miami, they got their win in this series earlier than expected. But Boston's the better basketball team. This is where the series was meant to be through 4 games.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. And last night in particular, it wasn't just Tatum who got it done. They got help from Derek White as well. He had a really big game, 38 points, uh, 15 of 26 shooting in the field in 41 minutes. He did his thing last night. He did his thing last night, and Tatum helped out as well. 20 points, 11 rebounds, all of them defensive rebounds. Clean up the glass, man. Had a really good night last night for them.
Well, this is what championship teams have, right, B-Ron? And you saw it last night in Denver. You saw it last night in Oklahoma City. You didn't see it on the other side of the ledger. Championship teams have their stars, and then they have the third, fourth, fifth guy that can be incredible. And last night for Boston, it was Derek White. In different nights, it could be Drew Holiday. Hopefully, if he's come back healthy, and everything that we've heard is that so far from Woj, the team does not believe it's to be an Achilles, but Kristaps Porzingis. This team is deep. There's a reason they won 60 plus games this season. There's a reason they have like the third best point differential. They're not getting tested particularly against a Miami Heat team that's missing Terry Rozier, who's missing Jimmy Butler. But this team, truthfully, there's not much else to say. Like I said, this is where we're meant to be. I'm not suddenly awakened to something because the Miami Heat are down 3-1 because Boston has been the better team all season long. We've just got ghosts of the last couple playoffs in which Miami has made this look a lot more difficult for for Boston than it's been otherwise.
Yeah, and I guess that's the other part of it too. Like you said, Marsh, when you have a team that's known to give you trouble at times, it's nice to be able to make a statement and have this 3-1 series lead you have now, and only need one more game to, eliminate that team. There's goals, like you said, hanging around from the team. So if you can exercise those demons and put them away in the next game, that'll do wonders for your confidence going forward. But like you said, this really isn't a surprise. Boston is the better of the two teams, so this is what should be happening. And we talked about it before the playoffs started properly. In a series of games, most times the better team is going to win for that reason.
Yep.
So it's good to see that hold true here.
Let's head to where the series was actually entertaining, and that is, I'm going to go Denver because that was a phenomenal finish. Jamal Murray, yet again, with a game winner to sink the Los Angeles Lakers. A phenomenal series from Murray, a phenomenal close from Murray, great series from Jokic. It sends the Lakers into what we're gonna be told is an offseason of uncertainty, but I'm gonna be very shocked if LeBron James goes anywhere but a 2-year extension, probably re-ups on the same exact deal that he just did. But let's focus on the winners because those are the good ones. Denver's legit. That should be of no surprise. And while the Lakers hung around, the Nuggets always had the answer. We're gonna hear about last season being the closest sweep in NBA history. We're gonna hear about this being the closest 5-game series win in NBA history. No. The fact of the matter is, when push comes to shove, the Lakers are not as good as the Denver Nuggets, and it didn't take 2 game winners to prove that. but rather a group in Denver that in the second halves consistently dominated. They didn't lead a single first half run during this series. They only won one first quarter, and it was in Game 5, and they were trailing by 6 points with a minute and a half left. This team is just
Wow.
better than the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, and I mean, just like the Celtics on the other side, Denver's another team that has their star players, and they have other guys who come in and play very well. You got Jokic, Murray, and Porter Jr. over there. All those guys did really well, all in double digits, 20+ points from all three of them. The Nuggets are the best team in the West. It's not a surprise to me. I'm expecting to see a Celtics Nuggets finals this season. I'm gonna throw that out there right now, and I don't think that's a hot take or anything from anybody this morning. But I do think that Nuggets best team in the West, and this is what we expected. LeBron's still going to be LeBron, but just like multiple times throughout his career, he's needed help, and unfortunately, the help didn't come through for him this season around the Lakers team that he has.
Well, we actually got a surprise guest for you. Even I didn't know this was coming until this exact moment. But man whose hair is always perfect, according to him, Sir Roniel. Apparently, you have some feedback you'd like to provide the viewers.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do. I don't know what just happened with the screen there on production. We're not going to worry about
Beautiful.
that today, though. But B-Ron, you said something. I had to chime in. LeBron just did not get the help that he should have. Y'all are not going to gloss over the fact that Anthony Davis, he had 3 points in the second half. Again, he disappears in the second half of a game. He can give you everything that you're looking for. Here's what he is. He's Halle Berry. He's everything that you want. He's beautiful, gorgeous. Oh, look what you have. But he's Halle Berry if Halle Berry is not putting out. What is the point? He is the pinnacle of a basketball player for half a game, half a season, 3/4 of a season. He's played the most games he's ever played. Great. Where did he go in the second half? When you had to count on Austin Reeves to be the secondary aggressor out there with LeBron James, some of the shots that Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, and others had to put up. Meanwhile, you had AD sitting in the corner, out of the game, or just at the top of the key. And I know a lot of people will say, hey, that's what he does, or he was hurt. He hurt his shoulder. But that's what he's done every season. When he's on the court, every game, in the crucial moments, that's what he does, hurt or not hurt. He let him off the hook. And hey, this show wasn't going off the air without me saying that.
Let's add two pieces of context. You mentioned the injury. He immediately after that thing could barely move his shoulder. It looked like it was probably a stinger, which if you ever had one of those, it is excruciatingly painful, and then it doesn't make sense because you feel like you've broken your collarbone, but it's not broken. It's a very odd mental, physical injury. And the second piece is he's stuck guarding Jokic. Now, that is not me coming to AD's defense. I'm not a big AD fan. I actually agree with a lot of the points you just made, Roniel, but I always like to say, let's give them both sides. Injured with the shoulder, and guarding Jokic is no easy task, and the Lakers just have no other option to defend Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in the world, and then you're gonna wear him down. So, but the point is correct. AD does disappear. He's an unreliable second starter. There was one point I want to make before we're going to move on. One point that I found extremely fascinating. It was late fourth quarter. I believe the game was tied, or maybe the Lakers were up by 2. I can't remember who shoots it. I think it was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shoots a mid-ranger. Aaron Gordon out-muscles LeBron James for the offensive board, kicks it to Jamal Murray, who then buries a three-pointer to put the Nuggets back up. Again, that doesn't end up being the game winner, but I thought that was a perfect embodiment of this Lakers team. LeBron James, He's in year 21, in case nobody's told you this, which is my least favorite part of every single broadcast. Getting out-muscled for a rebound by Aaron Gordon. This is a Nuggets team that was just in the margins so much better. LeBron James is a phenomenal star, but in the margins, the Lakers were not nearly as good as the Denver Nuggets were, and that's why Denver is moving on to absolutely nobody's surprise, and it sets up, as we'll touch on briefly, because frankly, there's not much that we learned from this one either, sets up a matchup in the second round with the Minnesota Timberwolves, which will be an entertaining one. Our top 3 seeds in the Western Conference, making quick work, the other one being Oklahoma City. They sweep New Orleans Pelicans. B-Ron, no surprise.
Marsh,
this was not going to be a good test.
Out of here, I got to get this one in for you.
Well, and now we're told producer Ronyel just would like this to be the Ronyel show, so bring him back in.
I'm just saying, you'll appreciate this.
At least
one,
he looks
Marsh.
normal this time.
You'll appreciate this one, Marsh. LeBron's leaving the Lakers, and you know where he's going. Oh, this may have been a broadcast. You may not have brought them up. He's going to the Warriors. Y'all have a great show. I appreciate it, man.
Warriors.
I don't, he can go in free agency if he wants to take a vet minimum. Otherwise, it's going to have to be a signing trade, which would mean that it would have to be a Chris Paul contract, or it would have to be a Klay Thompson extension. As I've said back at the trade deadline, they should not move Jonathan Kuminga to make that deal happen. Because moving off of a 21-year-old for a 38-year-old, 39-year-old is a terrible decision. So unless he's willing to take a vet minimum or the Warriors are able to get down below the luxury tax line, which is possible if they offload a lot of pieces, I said I think it can happen. I said it's the best landing spot. I would be very fascinated if I've got other conspiracy theories that we don't have to dive into that I think the Warriors should actually pursue. So don't stay tuned. I mean, shocking. We found a way to bring this back to Golden State. But real quick on New Orleans and Oklahoma City. Without Zion, this never was going to be a competitive series. A disappointing end for New Orleans. But I got to say, Oklahoma City, they're fun to watch. And it's very difficult for me to say that because Golden State, see, we're bringing it back. They've got this small title window. Folks, it's not going to matter because for the next 7 years, at maybe 5 to 7, this is Oklahoma City. This team is awesome to watch, phenomenally deep. Jalen Williams, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey has an awesome night, Chet Holmgren. The West is in trouble, B-Ron. The West is in a lot of trouble between them, San Antonio, and the still here Denver and Minnesota.
Yeah, the West is looking like it's going to be really, really good for the long haul here. There's extremely talented young teams with, again, you mentioned the Timberwolves, Thunder as well, who swept Pelicans. They're going on to the next round. And, man, Marsh, you said really all that needed to be said here. Really, I don't think this is a surprise to anybody either. No. But I do think that the Thunder and Timberwolves, that's gonna be a really fun series, depending on how the seeding works out. If they do end up playing each other in the next round, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out.
All right, moving on to things that were actually surprising. Last night, late breaking news from SB Live, the reigning Treys have moved on from head coach Malik Ambar. The sourcing in that article said that this was because of a lack of development, a lack of involvement in other pieces on the floor. Organization and Ambar have been at odds. Really, on multiple occasions, the reports had come up about there being some frustration, some disconnect between the top and the bottom. P-Ron, I'm curious your thoughts on this firing. Again, sourcing saying that it's due to a lack of development, not so much winning for a team that's 5 games above 500.
So I don't like it. First of all, I don't like it. Not only because they're winning, which is important. Development is also important. We've mentioned that plenty of times, especially at the prep level. Development is also important. But I feel like Ambar in this situation was dealt a bad hand, really, because the only player he really had that was producing of note was Jafet Towns. But if you look at this roster, you'll see that that's not necessarily the case, because they have four other players on that roster are shooting at or above 50% from the field. Does that equate to development? Is that a correlation there? You could say that, sure. And I think there's a case to be made there because at least they're scoring and playing in some respects well, but nobody on the team besides Vet Towns is over 10 points a game. I know there's more to it than points, obviously, but I don't like it for that reason. I think it's especially when you compare this situation to the Indy Stripe situation that went down earlier in the season as well. There's a bit of confusion in terms of how this all works out between the two.
Well, I think I said this last night. Two ownership groups, man. I mean, this is two different ownership groups making two different decisions based off their team. Now, let's also say that so we should call it the personality of Coach Shiragane, or I'm never going to get his name right, maybe a touch different than Coach Ambar publicly. I think we could all come to that agreement. When somebody has a personality that Coach Dak did, it makes it a little bit harder to, let's say, overlook some maybe frustrations internally.
Yeah.
So I understand the comparison, but I think it's important to note there are some differences in the people in the way in which they conduct themselves. That matters with organizational groups. And then on top of that, the fact that it's two different organizations. This isn't the reigning Treys firing a head coach and saying you need to win more, and then hiring Malik Ambar, and then he's winning a ton, and then saying, well, we're gonna let go of you because you're not worried about any development, right? At the same time, maybe this is just kind of what ownership groups do, right? I mean, again, welcome to the real world in which not everybody makes great decisions, right? And I have no idea what this is a new one, B-Run. I have no idea what to think of this because I don't know what the hell's going on behind the scenes. So if this is conversations that are being had that he's said, hey, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, and then he doesn't do it. I mean, I can understand where an ownership group might say, well, look, we've asked you to do this. You're not responding to that. If you go to your boss and your boss says, hey, B-Ron, I need you to do X, Y, Z, and you don't do it, you might get fired. But guess what? Maybe my boss doesn't give a damn about those X, Y, Zs. They care about ABC. Little alphabet jumble for you. That's really what we've got here.
Yeah.
And so all this is telling me is maybe the reigning Treys isn't a great place to be a head coach at. Sure, it served as a jumping off point for Finn Hayes, but they didn't maintain Kevon Jackson. He clearly left the organization for a reason to go play literally across the town. This is a Florida native. It's not like he's from Seattle.
Yeah.
He literally chooses, I like Seattle. I like the city. I'm going to go play for Cascadia. This is maybe indicative of what we talked about with Gotham 5, right? Gotham 5 churning through as many head coaches as anybody. Dysfunction, B-Ron. That's it. I'll let you get one last word. I kind of talked a lot there, and then we're going to jump off. But anything else from you, B-Ron?
It's okay. No, but I look. It's gonna be a difficult spot now that the interim coach comes into now because there are a couple games left in the season, and now he has to worry about what do I do now? It's a mixed message to the new coach coming in. What do I do? Do I focus on Vet Towns? Do I focus on the other kids on the roster? What do I do? So good luck. Good luck to the interim head coach.
Indeed. We have a 8-game slate of action today as SimWorld Prep makes its triumphant Tuesday return. Starts on ESPN2 at noon, Beasts of the East and SimWorld South America and Brazil. Back on SimWorld TV, Indy Stripes Gulf Coast Lockdown at 8 p.m. Best Coast Ballers and Cascadia going to work at the 9 o'clock broadcast. I am very excited to say I'll be joining Sir Maestro in Louisiana for Indy Gulf Coast at 8 p.m. That's the only reason you need to watch, folks. I kid because it's Maestro. It's not me. All right, B-Ron, thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning on SimWorld Today. Appreciate you tuning in here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game. Be the game.